Boss battles! Yeah! Bosses are one of my favorite parts of video games, and as such, I wanted to talk about the bosses that make me love the cliché, and the ones that make me want to play Frisbee with my controller. Usual rules apply, one per franchise and only games I've played. However, since this is based off of my opinion, I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments. I would love to see the best and worst gaming has to offer. And since I know you guys do too, here we go! Are you a good boss? No wait! Come back here! Hades' heart is a boss that I want to love, but just becomes a pain the more you fight it. You fight Hades' heart in a maze, while he sends out clones that explode in a cross shape, while it spawns traps throughout the arena. Okay, it's obvious this fight is a giant Bomberman reference, and I love it for its concept. It's when you actually get to chasing this ball of stars around that I actually get annoyed, and I mean that literally. This thing will run throughout the maze, spawn exploding clones whose explosions are really cheap. Not only do they fill up the whole lane, but they last too long to be dodged, and then when you finally manage to start wailing on this thing, what do you think happens? You win? Ha! This thing turns invincible and starts running around and delivering chains of damage faster than you can react. This is a great boss concept, but with shockingly poor execution. However, what puts this fight down at number 6 is that it becomes a lot less frustrating with a club that can shoot through walls. However, this just makes the level before it even more infuriating. Game developers, please take notes as to how not to ruin a good boss.
I'm impressed by all the big words you used, but I didn't ask for a sermon.
Well, screw you too, Hades. As I stated previously, Skyward Sword is my favorite Zelda game and one of my favorite games in general. It really improved on the Zelda formula and even managed to deliver a good water dungeon. They even managed to get a good boss, Galactos. This is a boss that relies on one thing, fun. This fight starts off with Galactos rooted in the ground and using 2 of its arms to cover up its weak point. You have to wait for it to slam its arms into the ground and then tear them off with the whip, Indiana Jones style. After a bit of this, Galactos will get smart and cover his weak point, stand up, and pull out 6 totally necessary swords. This is where the fight gets good, as his attacks are so big, even the music gives a cue. What ultimately makes this fight good is its destructibility. When you rip Galactus' arms off, you can pick up his own giant sword and then go to town on this guy. You can hack off all his limbs and slice through his armor. There aren't even any pots in this fight. You get your recovery hearts by either destroying the pillars yourself or having Galactus smash them. This is one of the best bosses, not for things like build-up or atmosphere, but because it's fun. Also, Nintendo, next time you make an awesome mechanical armory, could you please leave out the little girl noises when it dies? Metroid Prime 2 was the black sheep of the Prime series. It's honestly my least favorite of the series. However, it also, in my opinion, has the best and the worst bosses in the series. On one hand, you have the Temple Guardians like the Chica and the Quadraxis, and on the other hand, you have the Boost Guardian. Let's check off all the things this boss does wrong. Generic design that is completely copied from another boss? Check. Incredibly powerful attack that the game misleads you on how to dodge? Check. Invincible for most of the battle? Check. Spawns endless amounts of weak enemies? Mother trucking check? This fight is the mother of cheap bosses. It starts off in a fairly easy ink form, and then once you hit it enough, it decides to pull out the boost ball. In order to avoid this attack, the game tells you that you should go into the morph ball. Surprise! Trying to dodge this attack in morph ball is like trying to predict a pinball machine. When you get hit by the back Spear of Doom, it does a ton of damage. Plus, it's invincible while doing this attack, so all you can do is jump over it and pray that you get lucky. Oh yeah, and this boss fight takes place in Dark Aether, and there are no safe zones. So whether you are getting hit by its attacks or not, you're taking passive damage. The only decent thing I can say about this fight is that its atmosphere is decent. However, I don't count this as positive because it shares this environment with half the game's entire world. And all this for one of the most underwhelming upgrades in the game. In The World Ends With You, you are a contestant in the Reapers game, and this game is manned by the Reapers. Their job is either to give you objectives to clear, or in the case of Uzuki and Korea, make your life living hell. Oh wait, scratch that, you're already there in the game. Throughout the entire game, these two are always messing with you, and you seriously grow to hate them as the game goes on. Literally, for starters, on day 2, Uzuki tries to trick Neku into killing Shiki, and on day 4, they flat out kill Rhyme, and then rub salt in the wound. So yeah, when week 3 rolls around and the Reapers are allowed to attack players directly, we knew we had an awesome boss fight coming our way. And well, yeah, we got one. This fight might not technically be original because they just copy and paste their movesets from their solo boss fights, but it is the best iteration of these two fights. Throughout the battle, the game will swap out which two of these you fight at a time. That is until the end where you fight them both at the same time. The reason that this fight is so good is that the two have a lot of similarities in their style to you, even being one of the two bosses to have a super move. This boss simultaneously has great build-up and a great boss fight, and was one of the high points in the game for me. And maybe, just maybe, this game can get a sequel? Ladies and Mental say hello to the dumbest boss design ever! Okay guys, I know that Castle Crashers is a humorous game, but this is just pushing the stupidity meter a bit too high. There's a difference between randomly hilarious ideas and just plain stupid ideas. However, a bad design doesn't mean a bad boss, so let's check out the actual fight. Yep, half this fight is spent on your arse, and the other half is spent waiting for the vegetable to knock you down again. The corn can teleport around the arena and do ridiculously fast attacks that are difficult to predict. And oh yeah, you can't attack it for too long without putting up a shield to knock you on your arse again. And when it just has a little bit of health left, you think the pain is almost over. Right? Wrong. This just becomes worse. Standing still for you to attack? Ha! Rapid fire teleportation. No more attacking. And now it gets to knock you over. Again! And 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 again! Kirby Superstar Ultra is kinda like a mini-game collection of mini Kirby games. There's one where you explore an underground cavern looking for treasure, there's one where you race against DVD, and there's even one where you play as Meta Knight. And what do you get at the end? Well... Oh, it is so on. In this crazy fight, you go sword on sword with Galactonite, and he's no slouch either. Galactonite can cut you to ribbons with his sword, launch energy waves from his shield, dive bomb you from the other end of the arena, tornado spin you out of the air, spawn minions, and even summon a giant tornado to take a major chunk off your health bar. With all these attacks, Galactonite is a top-notch fighter, even if most of his moves are based off Meta-Knights. But that just makes this fight all the better. It's a match of equals, fighting not for fame or power, or the sake of the universe, but simply to find out which one of them is better. Oh yeah, and I think the guys at HAL forgot they were making a Kirby game, because they put on the metal song for the boss theme! Not that I'm complaining or anything.